Anybody order some early Lego sets? Hello everybody, Local Lego Man here, and today we're looking at some very cool stuff. Now, I love Dungeons & Dragons, and the LEGO Dungeons & Dragons collaborations that have been going on this year have been absolutely awesome. But one of the ones that I was excited for the most was the Dungeons & Dragons CMF series, which officially launches this Sunday. But within this bag, I have 9 packs of the new Dungeons & Dragons series. And man, oh man, do these look awesome. And like I mentioned, I only have 9 of these packs. Now, I definitely could have picked up more, but I definitely would have been getting duplicates. Since if you didn't know, with the switch to boxes for the minifigures, they now have these silly, wacky QR codes. And there's been an app developed which allows you to scan these to figure out which specific characters you're going to get. But unfortunately, the store that I went to had already been hit by some scalpers using that app, so unfortunately I'm missing out on some of the characters that I was looking forward to the most, like the Mind Flayer or the Tiefling Warlock. But nonetheless, I'm really excited to check out these figures, so without further ado, let's get to opening these. Alrighty, in pack number 1, we have... Is that the Elf Bard? Yeah, it's the Elf Bard. Now, I'm actually super excited to be able to get an early look at this figure, since this figure is using the new Link hairpiece, which is going to be in the Zelda set coming out this Sunday as well, which I also just cannot wait for. That's definitely probably my most anticipated set for the year. Earlier, it was the Red Dragon's Keep, but now it's the Zelda one. And I gotta say, the hairpiece looks really cool. I love the dual molding, and again, this definitely looks like Breath of the Wild Link's hair. And one other thing that I didn't realize as well is I believe this is a new scarf piece, which is actually pretty interesting, since I was expecting it to just be the same old one that we have gotten in previous sets. And my goodness, this figure looks phenomenal. I love the printing on the torso and the printing on those dual molded legs, which can definitely be interchanged to make other D&D characters, which I'm a huge fan of. And overall, what a solid first character to start off with. And I will also quickly mention that, like most of the D&D characters within the Red Dragon's Keep set, this CMF series also has alternate faces for extra customization, which I am a huge fan of. And it definitely incentivizes picking up 2 complete sets. And in pack number 2, we have, SZ Tam, who's one of the big powerful Lich characters in Dungeons & Dragons. And I still don't know if I pronounce his name correctly or not. And this is yet another great figure, looking like they were ripped straight out of a monster manual. But this is also a great figure for fans of classic castles, since if you were a fan of some of the more spookily themed knight sets, kind of like this one, which is such a cool set, and a fan of characters like Basil the Bat Lord, this figure is a perfect stand-in, especially with this translucent head, which has the exact same skull print as every other Lego skeleton, which is super cool. Alrighty, let's move on to pack number 3. And I know I'm definitely taking some very quick looks at these figures, and that is due to the fact that I'm in the Midwest and we are just getting hit with like back-to-back excessive heat days. So it's pretty hot, and the editing software that I have does have noise suppression, but the one thing that it doesn't suppress noise-wise in my room is my actual air conditioner running. So it's getting a bit toasty in here. And the figure that we had in pack 3 is the Araka Ranger. And I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing all these things correctly, although I'll be completely honest, I'm not 100% sure. If I'm being real with all you guys, I haven't played D&D in a couple of years. Well, I did do like a one-shot last year, but nonetheless, this is a very good-looking figure, and one that I'm also really excited for, since it has this phenomenal new bird face print and these brand new wings, which just looks super cool. And it also makes me hopeful that we'll be able to see some of these bird elements used in the future, since if you didn't know, Ninjago's kind of doing this thing where the main villain of the series right now is Raz, who is a character from Chima, and this would 100% work for the bird people from Chima if they wanted to put like a bird Chima character in the next Ninjago season. So this is another great figure, and I could see it having a lot of pretty cool uses in the future. One thing that I also haven't mentioned with these figures is that, like the Space CMF series, which we got in I think May this year, they have printed base pieces. So like this is what it looks like, and it's got these pebbles, and I gotta say, I'm a big fan of this. I know that some people don't like it when, you know, they add those extra customization details to the minifigure series, but I've always been a huge fan of stuff like that, so to see that in this series is very cool. And this pack had the Dwarf Barbarian, and I gotta say that the Dwarf Barbarian is another super solid figure. I really love this kind of like colder aesthetic, and the horn on the back is just a super cool extra detail. And like the Elf Bard, this figure also comes with an alternate face, which has some beard printing, which I gotta say looks super cool. Honestly, being roughly halfway into this opening, I gotta say that I am super impressed, and I don't know, this year has just felt super solid in terms of LEGO themes and just sets being produced. Like, I'm somebody who, you know, likes a few themes, you know, this and that, but this has been a year where I feel like I've been getting sets consistently from a huge range of different themes, just because all of these sets coming out this year look so good. And the figure that I have in my hands right now is the Gith Warlock, and this one is definitely a great figure, especially for creature builders, since the main accessory for this character uses this really awesomely printed eyeball piece, and I gotta say, this might be my favorite of the ones that we have opened so far. I love the attention to detail with the torso and leg printing, as well as the extra fabric detail with the swirls. And the other great thing about this figure is the accessories, since apart from that awesome eye staff, we also have this brand new dagger, which really looks super cool, and would also be perfect if you wanted to make a custom rogue class character for your LEGO D&D campaign. And I should also mention that this character does once again come with an alternate face with some more expressions. Alrighty, and we are on to pack number 6. Let us see what we get. Oh, that's right, this is the Halfling Druid. And I know you guys might already be sick of me saying, oh wow, this character looks awesome, but all of the figures within this series are just looking super good. I mean, this double-sided cape is already phenomenal, but look at that headpiece. And this is like the harder rubber, but it definitely feels a lot more sturdy than some of the rubber heads that I got in my childhood, like for Plo Koon and other Star Wars characters. And overall, this is just another phenomenal figure, who also has this alternate face with mutton chops, and honestly, I could see this being a really good head print if you wanted to make like a custom Wolverine figure. And now we are on to the last 3 packs. And what do we have in this one? Oh my goodness. All right, this is the Lady of Pain. This is definitely one of the most extravagant looking figures, mainly due to that awesome headpiece, which, oh my goodness. I don't know if you guys can tell, but that is like ridiculously detailed. Like, for the longest time, I used to think that the Hela headpiece from the Thor Ragnarok sets was the most complex headpiece for a LEGO figure, but I have to say that this one definitely takes that title, no questions asked. And this is definitely one of the standout figs from this CMF, being the perfect example of just how awesome LEGO figures can be when LEGO puts in some extra effort. And I really love this cape on the back as well, since it definitely helps the Lady of Pain to feel a lot more ominous and foreboding, and this is sure to look great within the Red Dragon's Keep or any other LEGO Dungeons & Dragons display that you might have. I'm honestly so impressed with LEGO's CMF game this year. Like, I don't think I've had a single figure within the past 2 series that I have been disappointed by, since all of them are just so detailed, and I really like that LEGO is continuing to push the boundaries of what can be done with the minifigure within the CMF series, since it definitely makes me hopeful for the future of LEGO figures. And speaking of super detailed figures, here we have Tasha the Witch Queen, and this is such an awesome figure. First off, I just want to say, the printed spell book with the hideous laughter spell printed inside is just awesome. And it's also super cool that the alternate face print for this figure is Tasha using that move. And apart from some stellar side arm, torso, and leg printing, we also have this super cool hairpiece. And I am really excited to finally have a copy of this piece, since if you didn't know, this was originally a piece meant to be used within the 3rd wave of LEGO video sets. And I'm gonna let you you all in on a little secret. I was actually a pretty big fan of LEGO Video. Now, I wasn't a fan of like the apps or any of that stuff, but I thought the figures and some of these sets were very cool. And I was definitely disappointed when the third wave got canceled, especially since they had some like dinosaur pop themed sets. And this piece, which was super cool and which I didn't think would ever get re-released, but this is actually its second appearance since Video has retired. So I'm really happy that they kept this piece around, since it really helps this figure to look super cool. And now we are down to the final pack. And I definitely have to say, these packs went quicker than I was expecting them to. I actually can't remember who the last character is that I picked up. Oh, how could I forget? Since this right here is Strahd von Zarovich, who is one of D&D's most iconic vampire lords. And that's one thing that I really like about this CMF series, is just how heavy they are going into some of the named characters. Since as somebody who enjoys running and playing through D&D campaigns, having more of these recognizable villains just means that you can do more and more with your LEGO D&D campaigns, which is something I'm really hoping they push in the future, since the concept of being able to play D&D games with LEGO figures and sets is a super cool idea, and it definitely opens the doors for a lot of people who, you know, might not be super into, you know, painting miniatures and doing stuff like that. Since, you know, I tried to get into painting miniatures when I was playing D&D a lot, and I just don't have the hand-eye coordination to do it as well as I would like to, but having iconic D&D characters in LEGO form like this, and then being able to build set pieces and stuff like that, is something I can totally get behind. And this is just another spot on figure. I am a huge fan of the scarier LEGO themes, you know, Monster Fighters, Pharaoh's Quest, stuff like that, so to be able to get another LEGO vampire is always exciting, and this one might be the most detailed one that we have ever gotten, with some awesome side arm printing, with one side having the armor and the other side having what appears to be like a furry hide. And man, oh man, does this figure just perfectly capture the menacing look of this vampire necromancer. And with that, we have opened up all the packs, but I gotta say, we got a really good selection of figures. Obviously not everyone, and I definitely will be picking up the last 3 characters once these character packs officially launch this weekend, but man, oh man, am I so glad I was able to get these figures early, since, my goodness, what an awesome CMF series. So yeah, I really hope you all enjoyed this early look at the brand new LEGO D&D CMF, and make sure to subscribe, since once I'm able to get the last 3 figures within this series, I'm definitely going to be putting out a more detailed and comprehensive review of the full series. And with that, I will see all of you in the next video. Bye!